Right, good evening everyone. Hope you're all well. Welcome to the first lesson of Guitar Quest 2. So I can't believe we've got through the first book already. It's all very cool. So yeah, we're just going to crack on with it really. So much the same as in the previous lessons. So if you're watching this live, then if you've got any other devices or whatever device you're on, if you turn your other emails off and social media and all that, so we get our undivided half an hour of guitar playing. So obviously because we're starting the second book, it's going to be building on everything we learnt in the first book. So if you do have any questions, then feel free to fire away, just pop them in the chat, or if you're not watching this live, you could ask in the comments box underneath the video. Other than that, what we'll probably do is just go back over one of the exercises from Guitar Quest 1 just to kind of get ourselves back in the zone really, and then we'll push on. So yeah, the other thing I'll just add is if you like if it's a child learner, then an adult in the room just to help guide through any issues and things like that is obviously going to be very helpful. So yeah, just the usual stuff really. So let's get started. So we're going to check our guitar tuning first. Before we do that, I'm just going to adjust my camera ever so slightly. So our sixth string then is our bottom E. So that's what it should sound like. So just double check, and if it's a bit off, just adjust the tuning accordingly. Okay, and then on to A. And then G, and B, and then our top E. Okay, jolly good. So I sent round Guitar Quest 2, so hopefully you all received it and you've had no issues downloading it or anything like that. I haven't heard to say there have been any issues, so fingers crossed that's all good. So if you open the book up onto page 2, what we've got at the very top of the page is a review of the notes from Guitar Quest 1. So that's going to be a good place to start, just to recap a few bits and pieces before we push on and start looking at these low notes. So, I'm going to count us in. We're going to play that sort of recap of the notes there at the top of the page, forwards and backwards. If you can say the note names out loud as you go, that's great. If not, don't worry too much. It's just, I often recommend it as just a helpful way of just really getting to grips with what the notes are and where they are and that kind of thing. So, okay, here we go then. So, after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We come back again, so G down to F, So, right, that's our recap. Hopefully they're notes that you're sort of reasonably familiar with by now. If you found any of them difficult or you're not quite sure about any of them, do just go back to Guitar Quest 1 and sort of revisit various exercises that help sort of work on those. What we're going to do is have a look at, just to kind of get us back in the zone, number 30 from Guitar Quest 1. So this is almost like a warm-up, I suppose. So we've got 3 beats to the bar. Got our repeat marks on each line, so we play each line twice, as I sort of mentioned a few times, well, last week anyway. And if you want to add in the dynamics, you're very welcome to. So, after 3, let's give it a go. So 1, 2, 3. Two, three, and repeat. Two, three, and second line. Line. 2, 3, and repeat the line. 2, 3. Okay, good stuff. So that is Guitar Quest 1 completed. So as I mentioned, obviously we're going to be focusing on Guitar Quest 2. So that's a post-it note on it there. So my sort of comments about editing and what I need to change on it and stuff. So yeah, hopefully you've got that. So if we come back to page 2, on page 2 itself, we've got, if I just bring this up on the screen, just want to talk you through it. These sections here about how to remember the notes in the spaces, or notes on the stave really. So you've got notes in the space and notes through the line. We haven't learnt this note yet, we will be doing that in the course of this book, but effectively every note in the space, if you kind of put them together, you see you've got F, A, C and E, obviously spells the word face. So if you're trying to recognise the notes, that's a good way of sort of figuring out what the note is. Then where you've got notes through the lines, we've got E, G, B, D and F. So obviously I don't spell any word in particular, but we do have a mnemonic to help us with that kind of thing. So we have every good boy deserves fruit. There are others, if you Google it, you'll find a few others and things. So this was just one that kind of is quite common. Quite often that's football and things like that as well. So really it's, whatever suits really. So, okay. So I'll close this screen down in a second, but these are the 3 new notes we're going to be looking at. These are our bass strings, which are E, which is the 6th string, A is the 5th, and D is the 4th. So if I close that PDF down, so to recap, or demonstrate really, so we've got our E. So we've been tuning the guitar. We've gone E, A, and D. These are the 3 strings we're going to learn. So that first note there, as it says string 6, that's E. So that's got the 3 extra lines underneath the stave. So they're your ledger lines. So when it's sort of hanging off the bottom of it like that, that's bottom E string, always will be. The next one's got 2 ledger lines, and that's your A. And then we go on to D. Which is the 4th string, that's just hanging off the bottom of the stave. And if you remember back to Guitar Quest 1, when we first started thinking about the strings, right at the beginning of the book, we had a couple of mnemonics just to help us remember the string names. So we had elephants and dogs grow big ears. So this is the, these new notes are the elephants and dogs, so E, A, D. Or we also had Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie, so this would be the Eddie 8 Dynamite, so E, A, D. So yeah, those are the 3 notes we're going to be focusing on. So, much like everything before, it's just a case of trying to recognise what note is what and how do you play it on the guitar. So if we move on to exercise 1, Spoke House Blues. So blues music can be quite good for this kind of thing initially because it's a fairly sort of simple chord progression, and so we're just going to play these notes fairly repeatedly. So we've got A, D and E obviously cropping up in there. Because it's a blues, I don't know if you remember back, I probably spoke about this when we were doing the blues in the first book, we did exercise 20, I think, is a blues one, and it's often a 12-bar structure. So when we get to the end of the 12th bar, we're going to go back to the beginning and play the whole thing again, and then add that extra note on at the end. So we'll give it a go, see how we get on. So we're going to start on A, and so we've got 4 bars of A, and as we come onto the second line we switch to D, that's our 4th string. We've got a couple of bars of that, then we go back to A for a couple of bars, and then as we come onto the 3rd line we're down to our bottom E string for 1 bar, then D for a bar, then A for a bar, and then back to E. And then we repeat, play the whole thing again, and eventually finish on an A. So let's give it a go, see how you get on. So we'll take it nice and slow, okay? So I'll just talk you through the notes as we go. As I mentioned about like building on the knowledge that we have from Guitar Quest 1, really at this stage that's going to be about the timing. So for example, in bar 6 there we've got a minim, so we remember that, hopefully we'll remember that's a 2-beat note, and there's a couple of other minims in there, and then the very final note is a semi-breve, so that's a 4-beat note, so we'd let it ring on for the 4 beats. The other ones are crotchets, just your typical 1-beat note. So let's give it a go. Just take it nice and steady. In terms of your left hand, because we're not playing any other like fretted notes or anything, you don't, I suppose, have to keep your hand here. However, it is good practice to do so. So you might see me playing and I'd sort of let my hand go onto my leg and stuff because I'm only focusing on the right hand. Really, I should keep this at the ready, because if you know, most music you're going to play is going to have some fretted notes in it somewhere or other. So having that ready is always your go-to position, I suppose. So, but anyway, let's get started. So after 4, exercise 1, just nice and slow. Okay, so here we go. So 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, and another bar of A. Got another bar of A. And finally, we're going to finish here on the minim. 2, then we go to the D. 2, 3, 4, and back to the A. And we go back to the beginning. One, two, three, 4, and then to D. Two, and then A again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bottom E. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the A's. Bottom E again, and then we're going to finish on the A. And hold that for 4 beats. 3, 4, and then we cut the sound off. So there we go. So as we've been doing previously, I'm going to bring that music back up onto the screen, and I'll put the backing track on just so you can have a listen. The backing tracks, that's not what I meant to push. Backing tracks for these first few tracks are all on YouTube as well already. So if you want to just play along with those, that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to come back and watch this video lesson, then that's all cool as well. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. This is exercise 1, Smokehouse Blues. Okay, good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I should mention as well that actually, as where you have the counting at the start, we've got the 4 claps, and obviously we're starting with this exercise on beat 1. One of the other instruments in the track, one of the guitars, is coming in just before that. So try not to let that put you off. So I think that's, if I remember, so it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's coming on beat 4, and then we're on beat 1. So that's good. Hope it makes sense. It's pretty traditional kind of sounding blues sort of thing there. So hope you enjoy that one. But we are now going to move on to exercise 2. So the funky den. So this again is a blues kind of idea. But what we're going to do now is I'm just looking at that. Excuse me just a second. I just need to check that something hasn't got missed off, because I'm looking at it thinking that there should be, I thought, 12 bars in it, but they do not seem to be. Not in my version anyway. So yeah, it appears, apologies, there has been a bit of a typo there, so we're going to have to, well, we'll talk about it today, and I will update that and send it round, and then you can print off that page again. So yeah, apologies about that, that's my mistake. Despite going through these things like numerous times and making lots of effort to try and make sure I didn't miss any mistakes, I found a bit of a whopper there. So, you know, these things happen, I guess. But anyway, so the idea is that we're going to play our bass notes with the thumb, and so where the stems point down in the music. So for example, if I just bring the book up, so this very first note, so you can see the stem is pointing downwards. So we're going to play that with our thumb, and then where the stem points upwards, we're going to use our fingers. So in this case, we're going to go with the index finger, which is why I've got the little I there. Remember as well, P is thumb, that comes from the Spanish word pulgar. So yes, we go thumb, index finger, and then we're going to do the thumb twice, and then we're going to do the middle finger. So if you can alternate the fingers across on the high notes, then that's the thing to do. If you find you're just using the index finger or the middle finger all the time, that's okay for now. You know, because there's a lot of space in between the notes, it's not really that crucial. It's just trying to build good technique as much as anything. So, so that's the idea anyway. So we're going to go thumb to play the A, and then we're going to play a high A with the index finger, and we come back, play a couple of A's, so they're quavers, they're a bit faster, and then we play the A again. So we go, I'll just play that first bar, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then the next couple of bars are the same. So, so I just play that again, so first 3 bars then, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then as we come into the 4th bar, we're going to go A on our bass note, then A, do the couple of A's again on the bass, but then we're going to change to the open G. So go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then in bar 5 there, we move on to the D, and this one goes back to the A on our 3rd string 2nd fret. So the rhythm is staying the same, so if you, hopefully as you get used to playing that rhythm from the previous bars, it will sort of make a bit of sense. So we're going to keep using our thumb for these notes, and we're going to try and alternate these fingers over here on the A's. As I said, just do your best with that really for now. So yeah, so that's bar 5, and then bar 6, so this is the last bar on that line. We'll start off the same, but then we're going to hit a C. Hopefully you remember that from Guitar Quest 1. So, then we play the first 6 bars. So here we go, so you've got A, change to the G. We hit that C at the end, so that's the end of the second line. And then we come back to the A on at the start of the third line. So A's again. We've got the open G. And then, as I mentioned, there's a few bars missing here, which I will correct to get sorted out. But we're going to go bottom E and then to the D here, second string, third fret. Obviously, you can't see the rest of the music, so we can't continue with that. However, we can work on that first section and come to the rest of that next week. So, as I mentioned, apologies about that, my fault, so I'll get that sorted. So, let's play the whole thing, so give it a go. I think anyway, this is the first time that we've played a combination of thumb and fingers. So as a rough guide, your thumb is typically going to be playing these low strings and your fingers typically play the high strings. That is only a rough guide. That rule will definitely get broken the more you play. So yeah, but as your sort of default start point, you know, when you go to pick your guitar up, you may have noticed when I go to play and I pick the guitar up that my thumb typically ends up on the 6th string, and then these 3 fingers end up on the nylon strings of this particular guitar. So, so yeah, that's just kind of a good sort of starting position when you're playing fingerstyle type guitar. So, okay, let's give it a go. So we'll take it nice and slow, and just do your best with it. I'd say it is a little bit more difficult than, well, definitely exercise 1 and probably anything we did in book 1. So it'd be good to hear how you get on with this. So the first 9 bars of Funky Den. So here we go. So after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So A. Up to the C, down to the G, and then bottom E to D. Okay, and as mentioned, we will continue with that next time. So I'll play a little bit of the track just so you get a feel for what it is eventually going to sound like. I will obviously stop it once we get to the bit we getting cut off at. So the whole thing should repeat as well, but we'll just do the first 9 bars or so to begin with. So, okay, here we go. Hope you enjoy it. So. And then it just carries on in the same kind of vein, really. So, as I say, we'll get on to the rest of that next week. So, it's a little bit faster. Like I said, it'd be good to get some feedback from you guys as to, you know, whether that was too much or not. Hopefully it's okay, but we'll find out. So, okay, let's turn the page and we are going to have a look at this new chord A. So, if you remember from the first book, we started with E minor, then we did E major, I think, and then we did A minor. So, we are now going to look at A major. So, looking at the book, and again, if I just open that up. So, we're here. This cross here means when we strum, we're going to try and avoid that string. Hopefully I mentioned that when we were talking about A minor before, because it's the same kind of idea. The zeros here are open strings. So we now know the 5th string is the note A, so when we're playing an A major chord, hopefully it makes sense now that we'd want that note to be sounding really, because it's an A. So A is obviously going to be in the A major chord. We'll talk about chord construction another time, but yeah, just take it from me now that the note A is always going to be in the A chord. Then we have these 3 here, so these are all going to be at the 2nd fret using fingers 1, 2 and 3, and then we've got the open string. So let me close that down, I'll show you how to play it. So we've got the open A, and then we're going to go 1st finger, 4th string, 2nd fret, middle finger, 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then your 3rd finger, 2nd string, 2nd fret. So this is a little bit fiddly. It can be a bit of a challenge, but it's worth persevering with. What you might find, and I don't know if I can bring my guitar a little closer, you might be able to see this. When I'm playing it, if this finger goes down first, which I'm not saying if I was playing an A in a song or whatever I would necessarily do that, but you know, they'll probably just drop in at the same time. But this middle finger can sort of overlap it. It doesn't, sorry, I realise I'm going off screen a bit. It doesn't have to kind of go to the side of it like that. It can sort of sit on top of it a bit more. And the same with this one. What I tend to find is that the middle finger overlaps this one, not so much 1st and 2nd fingers there. And then get right up on the fingertips, and hopefully you can get all those notes to sound nice and clear. So strings 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Yeah, see how you get on. That's the best thing to do. What you might find if you're watching other people's videos and things like that is you might see people playing it like that. This seems to be, from what I can tell, a more perhaps modern way of playing it. I was brought up playing it that way, so I always recommend it. But for some people, if you find, you know, if you've got particularly big hands and things like that, you might find that one works better. If you do go for this one, just be careful that that 1st finger doesn't drop to the 1st fret or anywhere near it, and you'll hear it's a very, very different sounding chord and not what we want at this stage. So if you can, I would opt for this. It's sometimes referred to as like the traditional way of playing A, or if you really struggle with it, go with that. But definitely my recommendation would be to go with that initially. And then what is also good to do, because what we want to know is, can we hear the difference between A major and A minor? So if we start with the A like that, and then we switch to A minor, hopefully you can hear that difference. So the A major has this nice sort of jolly kind of tone to it. It's got that note on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. And then when we go to this one, it switches to the 1st fret. And that's the only difference between them, but it makes a really big difference. So, like we did with E and E minor, we just want to see if we can change between them. And then, you know, you can then take it a step further if you want and just try changing between a few of the other chords. So if you've got E, you could go to A, then maybe E minor, A minor, any combination you can think of. Certain chords are going to sound better following each other than, you know, some combinations can sound better than others, basically. So just have a play about with it. At this stage, because we're not really working on any song in particular or anything, it's just trying to get the fingers moving around, and can you get them to the right frets at the right time without too much delay and that kind of thing. For some people that will probably be quite straightforward, for others that could take a little bit of time, so don't worry if it does, you will get there with it, just do your best with it really. So, okay. So I think that is going to be a good place for us to finish up for today. So, as mentioned, well, if you've been watching, we are on Guitar Quest 2. So a good thing then to warm up with is going to be just running through those chords. So like we were just doing just then, and maybe just going back over on page 2 of the book. So we have those notes to recap on sort of the ones from Guitar Quest 1, and then we obviously have the 3 new notes for Guitar Quest 2, the lower strings. So just trying to get used to those as best you can. and then have a go at exercise 1 for definite. Hopefully that one you'll find relatively straightforward. I'll sort out exercise 2 because I know there's the issue there. However, there's still 9 bars of it. There's only another 3, I think, or 4 probably. So, so you know, most of it's there. So have a go at it. Hopefully you'll be all right with it. And then when we come to it next week, we'll obviously finish it off properly, and it'll give you a heads up, and hopefully it'll be okay at least. So, yeah. So that's basically it. And then next week we'll obviously just be pushing on with a couple more exercises. So we'll leave it there for today. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like and a thumbs up, and all the usual stuff that you do on YouTube. Next week is half term, so I'm going to take a week off next week. So we'll be reconvening. I did write it down, I think, somewhere. I can't see it now. So, but anyway, we'll be reconvening in 2 weeks. So, in fact, if I just check the date, it is going to be the 6th of June. So, so yeah, if you have any questions, please do fire away or drop me an email, put them in the comments underneath the video on YouTube, that kind of thing. And so yeah, I'll be in touch with the updated exercise 2, and also with the lesson link in a couple of weeks' time. So I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with all the practice. Remember, practicing 4 or 5 times a week is ideal, sort of 15 minutes or so. And yeah, I will see you in a couple of weeks. All right, take care then, guys. Bye-bye.